if you two people don't stop disliking my videos, you will be forced to remove all dislikes from all of my videos. Hi everyone, William Weyser is back. I hope all of you enjoyed the downs part of my ups, downs, and more about our movie list. But now it's time for me to move from negative to positive as I talk about my ups. And most of the ups that I have here are more related to Rick's two not his cup of tea game shows. But he did say that his favorite game show is The Price is Right. I don't know what my very first episode of that show was, but I do know that it was with Bob Barker as host. Before he retired, Drew Carey stepped in, and he's been hosting that show for 13 to 14 years. And the first up that I have here is January being a better month for WOF than December. So I guess it's been a good month for something. And the same thing goes with the other one. If you've seen the episodes in December of 2020, we had 23 episodes, and of the 23 bonus rounds, we had only 2 winners. That is not a good sign. However, in January of 2021, we had 10 bonus round wins out of 21 bonus rounds, and sure, it was a little bit less than half, but still better. And one of the 10 bonus round winners in January of 2021 was Calais Harvey, who was one of the $100,000 winners. When she was on, she solved the puzzle of Bowl of Apples and won $100,000. And this was the first time that we saw 2 $100,000 winners in 1 week. First with the Civilian, and second, on the premiere episode of Celebrity WOF, Tony Hawk won $100,000 for charity. And for those who don't know him, he was a skateboarder when he was just 14, and ever since, he's been a force in the world of skateboarding and sports, because he's a professional skateboarding champion. And I remember seeing him as a co-host on Brain Surge, and I uploaded a clip from the knockout round when it was between Preston and Noah was the Brain Surge champion, and he wound up winning all 3 prizes and getting slimed. So that's good. And we also got another $100,000 winner in the celebrity version, and that's Constance Marie. And now Calais joins Patrick McIntosh for $100,000 winners of season 38. Good. Next is tiebreaker helping Brian Chang win 7 games. In Brian's 4th game, he was involved in a tiebreaker with one of his opponents named Jack Weller, who both of them were leading or tied for the lead heading into final. Both got final right and both wagered everything to take them up to 37,600, so we got to see a tiebreaker. For those who don't know how this works, a category will be revealed that will be part of the tiebreaker, and that is history. The 2 tied players will grab their signaling devices, and when the host reads the clue, and once the clue has been read in its entirety, the first person to ring in with the correct response will win the game. And there is a strict rule about this. You can't win by default. You have to give a correct response. And Brian did that, and that helped him become a 4-day champ, meaning that he is now 1 win away from automatically clinching a spot in the Tournament of Champions, and he won 3 more games after that, making him a 7-day champ with $163,904. And speaking of a total like that, Brian Cheng and Josh Hill, $163,000. Two things that these two guys have in common is that they both won over $163,000 and they both won 7 games. And I've been meaning to do this after Josh Hill won a 7th game, but I never had the chance. But I did have the chance to do this after Brian won a 7th game. Deal No Deal contestant Marcos Ceballos dealt at $76,000, even though he didn't get the deal that he wanted, because this case had $300,000 in it. There was one point where, had he gone on, he would have been offered $163,000, and I used that as his reaction to Brian and Josh winning over that amount, despite $183 of separation. $163, wow. Wow indeed. And another Brian Cheng related thing, Brian Cheng became the first mega champion since Mackenzie Jones. Brian won his 6th game, or after that, I told my mom and dad that he became the first mega champion since Mackenzie Jones almost a year ago. She won 8 games at over $204,000 before losing her 9th game to a Ben Ingram lookalike. And Brian, as I said, made it to 7 wins. And there were 3 5-day champs that tried to win their 6th game. And even one of them, I was convinced that he would do it, but because of tough material, it didn't happen. But it did happen with Brian, as well as this other man that I'm going to mention, Zach Newkirk's return. For those who are unaware of him, Zach Newkirk was a champion from the last episodes of season 36. He won 4 games and $85,669. He was supposed to return the following Monday, but then left the show due to travel restrictions. And then he was supposed to return for the season premiere, but due to that same reason, he was unable to travel from the East Coast to the West Coast because he lives in Washington, D.C., or he lives in Alexandria, Virginia, which is in the Washington, D.C. area. Despite me learning that he was actually originally from Florida, and I never knew that. And then Zach came back after 7 months of waiting this past Thursday, defeated Brian Cheng, and Zach is now a 6-day champ with $124,871. And we'll see him again tomorrow on Monday, February 1st, the first day of the month of love, as he goes for win number 7 to try to tie with Brian. And one more Brian Cheng related thing, at least, the H&R Block response. In his first game, Brian didn't know what the correct response was, which was Motel 6, so he decided to have fun with Ken, and that is write down what is H&R Block, which was the correct response that sent Ken Jennings home, because he wrote down FedEx, and the correct response was H&R Block, because he's not into business and industry. And when I saw that Ken got trolled, and everybody was laughing, he said, "Now, Brian, I know from experience, H&R Block is sometimes the correct response in Final, but not today, I'm afraid." And it wasn't today, but still, he made the game a runaway and still became champ. Something that the other Brian Cheng back in 2010 tried to do, and it didn't work out. Next is the 2021 Tournament of Champions. In my excitement after finding out that Zach defeated Brian, Ken announced that the 29th Tournament of Champions got cut due to AT's passing. So Brian and Zach will be the first two players to automatically qualify for the 30th Tournament of Champions. And I saw comments saying that the 2021 TOC is going to happen in May, something that for a Tournament of Champions has not happened since February of 2013, where a TOC is not held in November. And I know the names of 12 out of 15 players, I think. And those are Nabir Sarma, Ben Henry, Jason Zufferneri, Jennifer Quayle, Mackenzie Jones, Karen Farrell, Braden Smith, Sam Kavanaugh, Kevin Walsh, Paul Trifoletti, Ryan Bilger, and Ryan Hemmel. I've seen comments saying that one might think that the other three spots are going to go to Dave Leffler, Jonathan Dinerstein, and Alex Schmidt. And somebody else said that the three might go to Andy Wood, Sarah Jet Rayburn, who I hope qualifies for this because I want to see more of her explanations, and Veronica Vichet-Vatican. We'll just see how this handles and who gets those three spots. Of course, I have to find it somewhere, and I'll learn which way is the correct way after the 2019 TLC announcement in July of that year. Next, Leslie Jones wins $75,000. An amount that you never see on the civilian format. Leslie won an amount that I've never seen in that version, $75,000. It was one of the amounts that my dad and I were playing around with. Somebody could win $25,000 in the main game, make it to the bonus round puzzle, or make it to the bonus round, solve the puzzle, and win $75,000, and win over $100,000 without having to send the confetti out. I've seen it that way happen too. But Leslie was the host of Supermarket Sweep. And on that show and on Celebrity WOF, she had fun being involved in that show. And the last up, and this is not, or this does not have anything to do with those shows. It's Time to Wear Your Boots' 10-year anniversary. January 14th, 2011 was the day that I got the It's Time to Wear Your Boots VHS of Teletubbies. I watched it, and it was good enough. And a couple of weeks ago, when the 10-year anniversary came around, I watched it, and I uploaded I watched that and uploaded a couple of videos, or maybe a little more of that in honor of the anniversary, and had fun while doing so. And I even mentioned that on an episode of The Final Wager, in the same way that I mentioned Nicolas Cage on one of my Final Wager videos too. So, those are the ups, and one more thing from this list is the more about our movie list, and I'll get to that after the break.